The city that I've been building is big, detailed, and by most accounts would probably be considered mega, but to me it feels more like an environment than a mega build. It's less a base meant to be lived in than an environment made to walk through and experience. That being said, I've also made some mega builds on this SMP, namely the tower with its stunning interior. Sorry, but I feel like it's worth interrupting the flow of the intro just to get the full experience of this. I mean, just look at how good this looks. And the butterfly where I sell shulker shells. Speaking of which, I should check to see if I have any more sales there. Well, that's honestly a bit disappointing, but diamonds aren't why we're here. We've got the Diamond Emporium for that. No, what we're here for is a mega build. One that, for better or worse, is probably going to be the last one that I build on this server. And as much as I know you would all love for me to get sappy and emotional, I think it's better for all of us if I just start building. Now before I even remark on the pillars, I just want to point out that this stone base took so much more stone than I expected. I think it was somewhere between 1.5 shulker boxes. I don't know, it's been a little bit since I built it. But let's be honest, nobody cares about the stone base because these pillars look incredible. Even without the rest of the build, which is going to extend incredibly far up in the air. I did tell you guys this was going to be a mega build. These things still look absolutely stunning. They look good up close, they look good from a medium distance, and even from super far away, they still look incredible. I mean, maybe they look a little bit odd because they're floating at the moment, but we'll get to that soon. For now, I want to focus on the pillars themselves, which really, I mean, they look pretty complicated, but they're not. Oh, this is just lovely. Way to rain on my parade. Actually, I'm so happy with this, I'm not even going to sleep away the rain and the thunder, even though I could, because, oh, this just looks so cool. This guy's a little bit less cool. There we go. But wow, I really like these. Wow, that was a short thunderstorm. Like seriously, I put a few cuts in that video, but they were really minor cuts. That thunderstorm was like less than a minute. But those of you who have been around for at least the last couple episodes, you'll know that I've been really teasing this build for quite a while. And the reason that I've been only teasing it and not showing any particulars is because I didn't decide on any of them for the longest time. In fact, even these pillars were kind of like a last minute thing. Maybe not quite last minute, I worked on them for quite a while, but still. They were sort of something that I stumbled across and I just fell in love with them and had to go through with it. But my biggest inspiration for these was just marble. No building or pillar in particular, just like the block marble. Wow, I can't believe I just referred to a real life material as a block. Maybe I've been playing too much Minecraft. But you know what I mean, when you look at like big slabs of marble, they're white with these little streaks of black. I mean, it depends on the type of marble, but I digress. Like, you know what I mean. They've got the white, they've got the little strips of black, and that's what these are supposed to be. I wanted to blend them in using some kind of optical illusion, which, I mean, it's not really an optical illusion exactly, but as you get farther away, let me just fly a little ways away. Doesn't it just give you that feeling like, you know, the same feeling that marble does? I don't know, I see it. Now I'll tell you more about the pillars in a little bit, like how I came up with them, and like, once I get the entire build, then I might spend a little bit of time telling you exactly my thought process in certain areas. But for now, I want to real quick take you back in time to a couple things that happened while I was building this. And the first thing I did was diamond mining. As you guys know, I used up all of my substantial diamond resources in building the Diamond Emporium, which means I'm actually one of the poorest people on the server now. I then spent some of the diamonds on white wool from Star King's shop, which was supposed to go down to a reasonable price at some point, but never quite found its way there. Honestly, I still find myself buying it all the time, so I guess not lowering the price was the play. But I'm definitely gonna need to get myself a wool farm next season. I also replaced the diamond block that I accidentally destroyed using a copper pickaxe in the last episode, so now the mirror effect is fixed. A little later on, I got a message from General Crusader who needed some resources for a game he's making, and he said he needed melon slices, which funnily enough is actually kind of harder to give him than just giving him a whole bunch of melons since I have to use an axe to break them all down back into slices again. Actually, in hindsight, I should have just given him the melons and had him break them down himself because it was actually a little bit annoying. I even had to make a new axe to do it since mine has Silk Touch. Then I grabbed some gold from the gold shop that nobody ever buys from, and a shulker shell of name tags that longtime viewers will likely remember from a previous episode. Leave a comment if you remember that. Before finally paying GC a visit. Wait, what? What is that? Okay, moving on. Hello there, General Crusader.
Hello. Let me... Oh, one sec.
Oh. Do you need me to come back in again? I didn't realize you needed to get the mood set.
Yeah, I was just testing this out.
No. Leave the music running, and I'll come back and re-enter. Okay. It'll be great.
Have it.
Ow. General Crusader, I love what you've got going here.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just figuring out like a music system real quick.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've got what you asked for right here.
Yo. Oh yeah, this is perfect.
Is it good?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably all I'm gonna need for the rest of the season.
All right. Well, sounds great.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is gonna be really helpful.
My pleasure. Put it to good use. Alright guys, real quick story time because this is way more interesting than some silly build. So this is my shulker farm, and I haven't been up here in a while. I'm sure you couldn't tell. And let's just be completely honest, even before when I came up here, I don't need shulker shells anymore. But the reason I came up here was to admire the build, but what I found far more interesting is that this thing, it finally broke. And I know I'm saying finally like I'm excited for it to happen, but I'm not excited. I mean, I expected it to happen and it didn't happen for a long time. There's a lot of really complex emotions going on here. See, I've made this shulker farm before, and the one I made previously, it broke all the time. So I expected building it on a server would be, you know, it would cause it to break even more, which is why I got all of these shulkers ready to reload it and get it moving again. But guys, this shulker farm made it almost a year and a half. And I don't think I need to fix it anymore. We had a good run, buddy, but I think this is the end. Okay, now we can talk about the build. So normally when I do these really big mega builds, I have lots and lots of inspirations and sort of things that I'm trying to recreate or maybe recreate with a bit of a spin, but this time there really wasn't any of that. I really just wanted to make a giant dome. That being said, there was a lot of iteration that went into this, and I went through so many different ideas that just did not pan out. In fact, let me take you to my creative world for just a second. Alright, I've got to be very careful where I look because there are a lot of spoilers here. And it just now occurred to me that I'm wearing an iron helmet in this world for some reason. I do not remember why that's the case. But honestly, you're gonna see in this world, like, these are so incredibly different. And honestly, something like this is really unique and interesting, and I can definitely use it in the future. It just didn't quite fit the vibe of the city, I guess. I was trying to think of, like, details to put on the build, kind of interesting shading ideas. And I even spent a lot of time on like a stained glass window kind of thing with some really cool chains or some sort of structure thing up above. And I really do like a lot of these builds. I mean, something like this stained glass or that chain thing up above, or even this like Colosseum-like structure. They're all stuff that I'll probably use eventually in some way or another, but I just, I wanted something a little bit more simple. Which is why back on the DokiCraft server, you will see that as far as the shading goes, I was very, very heavy-handed. In fact, every single one of these pillars is basically identical. We've just got all of this deep slate down below going into the coal ore, going into the andesite, going into diorite, into calcite. Like, there really isn't the variation that I would normally have on a build like this, and that's just because you're never gonna see any of that up close, and I think it looks great from down below. Like, this is really just supposed to be a shadow. Let me sleep real fast so I don't have any creepers blowing things up. Honestly, I think this entire theme is going to be a lot more clear once I get the rest of the build in. Yeah, we're really only about halfway done with building, by the way. But the last thing that I wanted to mention is the roof. I'd really wanted to use a different color than this green that you see so frequently in domes like this, but there just are not that many options that are as striking in color like this and are as easily textured. Like, red was also probably an option, but I didn't really want it to be red. It just didn't feel like it fit the vibe. I mean, I kind of wanted to have like a light counterpart to the dark tower over there, and having this be red just didn't really fit there. I really wanted to make it purple or something like that, but there just aren't that many options for purple unless I start using amethyst, which, granted, I do like to use amethyst occasionally, and in some certain situations, it could be really good. But again, this city is supposed to be a little bit more grounded, a little bit less overtly magical, I guess. And using amethyst really just brings in that sparkly, magical, fairy vibe, and that's just not what I'm going for in the city. So we landed on this green, which, I mean, it sounds like I'm disappointed, but I'm really not. I think this looks really good. These little faded portions, by the way, these were made with the warped warp blocks and then a whole bunch of cyan concrete powder. And because of that, you can see I had to use a whole bunch of stone blocks to keep that in place. And I really haven't thought that much about the interior in here. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things we could do with this, but I haven't thought about it yet. But I really didn't intend to talk about this that much, and I've talked about it for so long that it's finally started to rain, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut my trap, and we're gonna get back to building. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolutely gorgeous build and a wonderful addition to the city. Let me just fly a little bit closer, and honestly, you can tell by how long it takes me just to fly here, just how big this build is. I mean, let's fly up all the way to the top, and let's just jump off this thing. Well, I'm gonna hit that, but I mean, you get it, you get it. This thing is absolutely massive. One of the many things that I'd love to point out is if I go into free cam mode, you can see the pillars on each one they get smaller as you go up, and it got a little bit hard, to be honest, because down here at the bottom, we've just got an absolutely massive dome. So we've got, let's see, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide, 7 by 7 columns right here, and then I think these on the side are 5 by 5, and this works really good. Like, the dimensions are great. It's roughly even in between each one, which can be a little bit difficult sometimes on the angles. And then as we come up, I believe these center ones, they're 5x5, and then they go up into a 3x3, and then the sides are basically the same. I would have kind of liked to continue the trend of them being slightly smaller, but it just didn't quite work with the dimensions here, and I think it still looks really, really good. You can see that instead of having the little marble type texture that we had on the bottom ones, we have a slightly more, maybe I could say like detailed or a little bit more intricate pattern on the columns. But I wanted to make sure that we had a bit of a callback, so you can see we've got this little line of what do you call that, dark prismarine down here at the bottom. So we've got those 2 lines of dark prismarine, and then we've got the same thing on these pillars, and then just 1 on these. So it just gives you a little bit of something to link you from the bottom level to the middle level, and then all the way at the top. You can see I had to do things a little bit different because, well, this is pretty small. Like, this middle dome is only a little bit small. I mean, it's quite a bit smaller, but like, all things considered, it's fairly close in size to the bottom one. But the jump from this one to the top one is really, really small. And the main reason for that, of course, is just because I thought it looked better that way. I just feel like it looks a lot cooler to have a little bit of a crown type structure at the top. But it did mean that doing the columns on this one was just a little bit more difficult. You can see we have the 3x3 on the main sides, and then in the corners we just have like a 1x1, and it even goes into like a smaller than a 1x1 when we use the walls and then even the fences. Actually, coming up all the way to the top gives me a good chance to show you that theme that I was talking about with the shading, where we go from the white wool into the calcite, into the diorite, andesite, coal ore, and then some deep slate at the very top. Like, I was pretty heavy-handed with it. There's no sort of sprinkling in of other textures. There's no, like, I mean, it's just literally exactly what I just said, going from one to the next. But the really cool thing about that is that when you look at it from far away, it just blends together perfectly. And honestly, that's great for me, because the only time that you're ever going to be looking at this is from at least this far away, and it looks great from here. But as particularly observant viewers might have noticed, we're not actually done with this, because the entire thing is still floating. Yeah, we're gonna have to take care of that pretty soon, although it's actually going to be in the next episode, because this has taken me just so much time. If I just consider resource gathering and the amount of time that it took to build it, it took a while. But I mean, realistically, the majority of the time was actually spent designing. I've spent a lot of time on this. So yes, in the next episode, we are going to get a way to get up into this, man, what am I gonna call this? I guess at the moment, it kind of feels like a temple. I mean, especially if you stand in here, it definitely feels sort of like a Greek temple, so I think that's just what I'm gonna call it for now. But anyway, we'll get an entrance over on this side, and actually, if I fly all the way around the curve of this street, you'll see it also meets up back on this side, and I'm thinking that we might even put an entrance over here as well. That could be pretty interesting. The other thing that we're gonna do next episode, and I don't really feel too bad teasing this because I've already got it mostly planned out, is we are going to do an enormous amount of terraforming in this section of the city. You know, if I drop down here, this gets us to the little bridge that we have around the canal system, but the canal just ends up right here. I mean, it's got to go somewhere. So I'm thinking we're going to dig out all of this land. It's gonna be really miserable. I'm hoping that I can get some friends to help me. But anyway, we dig out all of this land, and I want to build up, like, not exactly a mountain, but almost like a cliffside on this section of the temple. And I think this is gonna look so cool, because we've got all of this greenery in this part of the city, and then if you look over to the left as I'm going right now, or if we're coming from this direction, the right side, we're just gonna have an awesome cliff face with like trees coming out of it. Oh, guys, I'm so excited about this. I tell you what, we are running up really quickly to the end of this season, but the ideas are just flowing so quickly into my brain, so we're just gonna keep going. We've got all sorts of work to do over on this part of the city. I want to get a whole bunch more buildings, especially along this road. I mean, we're definitely not going to get the entire city to exactly where I would like it to be, but we're gonna get it as far as we possibly can, and then, I mean, honestly, between you and me, I'm probably gonna keep working on it after the season's over. I just have this really bad habit, guys, where when I start a build, I just keep building it. I always build like section by section and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, this wall is supposed to extend all the way around the city. Yeah, following that that cobble deep slate all the way over here. I mean, even if I had another year, I probably wouldn't have enough time to finish all the things that I have planned. And even if I did actually have the time to finish everything that I have planned, then by the time I got there, then I would have probably planned out an entire countryside out here and then probably another castle over in that direction. Yeah, this is just the way I do Minecraft. It's exhausting, and yet I wouldn't have it any other way. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, there's the tower coming into view, and wow, these guys look so good together. I really wanted to have like sort of a light counterpart to the tower, and now I think we've got that. The interior still leaves a lot to be desired. There's a lot of work to be done for sure. We've got to make it stop floating. We've got to add some terrain around the outside, just generally connected to the city, but this thing is incredible. In fact, let's just fly all the way over here for one final look at this as we end the episode. Yep. That's gorgeous. But ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm going to end the episode for today. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and this was just so much fun. It was a lot of work, but it was so worth it in the end. If you enjoyed this and you look forward to seeing me do some terrain around it in the next episode, then feel free to subscribe. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you in the next episode.